So there's this trend that I've seen happen with a number of commentators where their outrage meter sort of gets messed up over time. You know, they don't, like, you're supposed to react with the proper amount of moral outrage depending on the seriousness of the issue. So if it's like torture or an illegal war or something like that, yeah, you should be really outraged by it. And you should do everything you can to change it. If it's, you know, the top 1% rigging the rules and the laws in the country and running out the back door with all the money while everybody else is struggling, yeah, you should be really mad about that. If it's some goofball, censorious little college kids who want to ban a conservative speaker, yeah, in principle, they shouldn't do that. I'm against that. You should let people speak. But also, am I going to spend like 98% of my time talking about that? No. Because it's a bougie concern. Because again, like, there are real problems in the world. And that, the most serious problems should get most of your energy, right? Well, Bill Maher has sort of lost himself politically. And his boomerdom is like overriding his common sense. So here we have an article in Mediaite. Bill Maher rebuffs guest Catherine Rampell's abortion point. It doesn't affect my life. I ain't getting anybody pregnant. Ugh, okay, so you're going to see Maher cannot get the mind virus of like, ooh, the social justice warriors out of his brain. So I want you to see this whole exchange. It's about 4 minutes long, and we'll break it down as we go.
This is virtuous conduct. If you're a conservative, for example, watching progressives rediscover the idea that when you're in a room with men and women who are single and it's bathed in alcohol, socially destabilizing things can happen. This is a value that conservatives have understood since time immemorial. That was not a progressive leftist, left-wing value during the sexual revolution during the 90s, even the early 2000s.
It is now?
It is today, increasingly.
I don't know. We just had a vice president who couldn't be alone in a room with a woman without his wife named Mother.
That's what I thought. Right.
I don't know. I take your point. I don't want to be scolded by left or right, but I'm still much more worried about, you know, original recipe Puritans than left-wing Puritans, particularly the ones who have power.
I'm not, because those people never affected my life.
Okay. So Maher just admitted he cares more about the impact of left-wing Puritans versus right-wing Puritans. I want you to sit on that for a second. Let that marinate in your mind for a second. What do left-wing Puritans get us? I'll tell you exactly what it gets us. I just described it. You get some conservative speakers who are banned from, you know, giving a speech on a college campus. Probably the worst of what we get from left-wing, authoritarian purists is, and actually this is bad. I'll grant you this is bad, and I opposed this vocally at the time, even though some people may have disagreed with me in my own audience. But like the banning and censorship on social media, where like the Hunter Biden story in the lead up to the election got censored by Twitter and by other, major social media outlets. Again, I oppose that. Now, I don't think that's just a left-wing problem, because remember, there were a number of prominent Antifa accounts that were banned. Virtually every large Antifa account was banned, too. So, yeah, can you point to, hey, some white supremacists got banned? Sure. But also, Antifa gets banned. So, I don't view that as just a left-wing problem, but there are people on the left who sort of embrace censorship and things of that nature. That's the worst that you get from the left-wing Puritans. The term I like to use more is left authoritarians. What do you get from the right authoritarians? We are witnessing it unfold in real time. Roe versus Wade just got overturned. Something that was viewed as a right for decades is now going gonzo, son. So now you have 10-year-old rape victims who can't get an abortion. You have 14-year-old rape victims who can't get an abortion. Most of the red states in the country, and eventually all of the red states in the country, might fully ban abortion, even if it's at 4 weeks or 5 weeks or what have you. A story came out of Louisiana the other day. A woman is being forced to carry a skullless fetus to term, even though the fetus has zero hope for living. The longest they'd ever live is like a week. They're forcing her to carry it to term. Okay, is that not enough for you? How about Clarence Thomas saying we should revisit Obergefell, which is, fancy judge talk for let's throw out gay marriage. These are the right-wing authoritarians. Or how about Clarence Thomas in that same decision saying, well, we should really revisit the right to contraception. He wants to give states the right to ban contraception. So if a state says no more morning after pill, no more the pill, birth control, no more condoms or whatever, they could do that. They could just ban it. No problem whatsoever. And this is to say nothing about the plethora of laws that popped up all around the country that are genuinely against the First Amendment. Laws like, there was one in Florida that basically allows people to drive over or through protests, and if you end up killing somebody with your car, maybe that's not your fault. You think that's a little bit anti-First Amendment, a little bit anti-free speech? There were laws in North Carolina that we covered, it was reported in The Intercept, that they basically banned certain kinds of protest. These are the right-wing authoritarians. The right-wing authoritarians are the people who say, it is illegal to support BDS. You won't be able to get hurricane relief money, this came out of Texas, this story, if you support BDS. You need to sign something swearing that you will not criticize the government of Israel. This is deeply against freedom of speech. So the right authoritarians, what makes them an even bigger scourge is that they actually use their political power legislatively to impact people's lives. And now he's just, his mind's so broken, he's like, but my social justice warriors. And you're going to see the example he brings up here, which is mind-bogglingly stupid.
I didn't care about the gay Teletubby when Jerry Falwell attacked it. I'm not into the Teletubbies.
Sorry, who controls the Supreme Court right now?
I want to see the Jamie Foxx movie. That affects my life.
I literally don't even know what he's talking about. My guess is there's some Jamie Foxx movie that's viewed as like politically incorrect, and some lefties are upset about it, and so they're trying to get it pulled from certain theaters or whatever the fuck. This is my guess. I literally have no idea what he's talking about. I don't know what the movie is. I don't know what the subject matter is. I don't know why people are upset at it. Honestly, I don't care what's in the movie. I support it being shown, no matter how weird or politically incorrect a movie is. Everybody has the right to see it. So I'm on the side of like, yeah, you should see whatever movie you want. But does this issue, in any way, shape, or form, measure up to the 5 examples I just gave you of what right-wing authoritarians do? No, it doesn't.
Jamie Foxx is great. It's about time he got a director's job, make his own movie. He finally did. It's with Robert Downey. He's great, too. I'm sure this movie is fucking awesome. It's funny. And because a small group of people... It's your opinion. You think, I heard someone in TMZ say, well, the movie looks bad. It doesn't. It looks fucking great.
Yeah, but I agree.
And why should your opinion control what I see?
I agree, but my concern is that this is much more widespread. Who's taking the books out of the libraries right now? Who's taking out Tommy's Two Mommies and the Diary of Anne Frank?
And what was the one we covered, guys? It's okay to be a unicorn. Some teacher was stopped from reading that by some right-wing authoritarian because he didn't like the message that was underlying it. The message is what? It's okay to be different. That's the message. It's okay to be different. There's nothing sexual in the book. I don't even know if they mention the LGBTQ community, even for just basic tolerance reasons. Just the idea is if you're different, that's okay. Right-wing authoritarian said, no, you can't read that. We covered the story on the show. Listen to Maher's reaction.
Don't go to the
library.
library.
A mockingbird who's taking out the K. I mean, this is...
His answer was, I don't go to the library. Oh, then I guess it's not an issue. Thanks, Bill.
So this is a bipartisan phenomenon now where
I agree with that.
And to BJ's point, which is very relevant, is there's an element of condescension here. Who has power in the commanding heights of culture? It's not the right. It is the left. And it's they who have a condescending view of their audience.
Who has a majority of the Supreme Court who can actually exert this power?
The Supreme Court doesn't make movies.
Okay, but the Supreme... I mean, Orwell had it a little wrong. It's not the government that's Big Brother. It's social media.
Oh, my God.
That's...
Oh, my God. Bro, have you heard of the Patriot Act? Have you heard of Julian Assange or Edward Snowden? Or go talk to Chelsea Manning, how she was tortured? Have you heard of illegal NSA spying on all Americans? Have you heard of that? Now, look, I'm against social media censorship, 100%. But don't say this isn't a government thing or this isn't a corporate thing. This is just a social media thing. What? Oh my God, he's got boomer brain. And this is zero disrespect to the wonderful, glorious, amazing boomers in my audience. I love you guys to death. But you know what I'm saying when it comes to Maher.
The Supreme Court has, yes, of course, certain powers. I mean, obviously...
they're restricting people from having sex right now, effectively.
Well, they're restricting abortion. I don't think they're restricting sex quite yet.
I mean, states are going to carry that through to restricting contraception access.
Well, we hope not.
And just so you know, there are anti-sodomy laws on the books in many states right now, many red states. It's a ban on oral and anal sex. Now, the way it exists right now is those laws are currently unenforceable and illegal because the constitutionality of them has been effectively challenged. But if the right-wing authoritarians get their way, they would definitely throw out that right. And they would say if a state wants to, they have every right to ban oral or anal. So he's acting like she's being hyperbolic. He's not at all being hyperbolic. You're being hyperbolic about the threat from social justice warriors versus right-wing authoritarians who are currently driving policy right now.
Possibly, yes. There's all sorts of nuts who want to do all sorts of things. Let's stick to what's really happening. We have taken away abortion rights. That's right. Okay. But, again, doesn't affect my life. I ain't getting anybody pregnant.
Well, I don't want to de-emphasize that.
What an amazing mindset. Doesn't affect my life. I'm not getting anybody pregnant. Okay, but Bill, you probably have phenomenal health care. So, Medicare for all is something, what, are you not going to advocate for that? Because, hey, I'm already good. So fuck the, 45,000 people who die every year because they don't have basic health care in this country. Fuck the 40+ million who are totally uninsured. Fuck the 338,000 people who died during the COVID surge because their lives would have been saved if we had a universal health care in this country. Fuck them, doesn't affect me. Is that really your mindset? This is a guy who used to be for Bernie Sanders, who used to argue for Medicare for all. Now the mindset is, hey, look, it doesn't affect me, so I don't care. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. What an ally. What an ally this guy is. But look, now, this is how Bill Maher has gone from Bernie Sanders to Amy Klobuchar in 2020. It's this mindset. It's this mindset that he now has, which is totally different from, George W. Bush era Bill Maher and even 2016 Bill Maher.
I mean, that does affect millions of people's lives.
Yes, it does. And it's wrong, but...
Even the conservative is like, it does affect a lot of people's lives.
We're talking about a specific thing. Why can't we just... Why do we always have to go to the what about them? Yes.
But you're doing the what about thing. Not them, you're doing it. Because we are talking about concrete policy substance, which is way more important than cultural stuff. Look, I'll have the conversation about cultural stuff with you guys. I do it all the time. But the policy supersedes the cultural. Excuse me. So he's the one doing whataboutism, even though he's pretending like it's others.
We admitted in the first minute here, there are still the Teletubby people out there. But this is a whole separate thing that's real and going on. There was an Axios poll this week, self-silencing is what they're calling it now, that most Americans are self-silencing. Here's one example. 44% of Democrats publicly say that CEOs should get involved with making stands with their company about social issues. Only 11% privately. I don't know how they got that because it's private, but that's what they printed. Okay, this kind of gap is not good for a country where there's this quiet resentment brewing. And you're right, there's probably more important things going on the right that are actually scarier, but emotionally, these kind of things affect us. It's obnoxious to be told what you can see and think.
Okay. Hold on, an ad's about to annoy the shit out of us.
Jamal Bowman.
It's an ad attacking Jamal Bowman. Anyway, so his point is like, the cultural stuff is important. It's probably even more important because people have this visceral feeling of like, oh, it's the left and the Democrats who are telling me what to think and feel. And so he's sort of downplaying or ignoring the conversation about the policy impact of the authoritarians on the right to hype up that threat from the left. Here's the problem, though, Bill. Look at this. Poll, 69% say cancel culture unfairly punishes people for past actions and statements. This is from November of 2021. So why am I showing you this poll? Because the majority position already is, hey, I don't like the speech police. I don't like the political correctness police. I don't like, whatever, the social media censorship. I don't like people being overly judgy, right? So that battle's already won. That victory's already won among the public. Most people already are where you are in that sentiment, Bill, and I'm where you are on that sentiment. But my point is, and this is where I differ from Bill Maher, is that the more important thing is the policy question, is the laws that are implemented, is the interpretation of the Constitution, and the real tangible freedoms that are being taken away now on a daily basis by the Republican Party, by elected Republicans. And he's not digesting that point. He's not digesting that point. And it is sad, man. It is, it's kind of like Fox News brain, if I don't say so myself. So, massive L here for Bill Maher. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.